So the area, that means how much paint we need to paint this rectangle. If this is H, well, usually call it B. If this is B, that's H. We multiply them, we get the area, which is base times height, right? Example, we have a rectangle. This is, the base is 5, the height is 2. What is the area?
10.
Good. You wish to have a question like this in homework, is 10. Great. If this is inch and that's inch, what is the area?
10 inches.
10 inches squared. That means 2, 3, almost. We have like a 10 of those square is not linear. Like this is 5 inch. 5 inch will be like, we're talking linear line. When we talk about area, we are dealing with some surface here. Another example, I give you guys the area equal to 80 inches squared. The base is 15 inch. I'm looking for the height. What is the value of H?
Is it 5.3?
5.3. How did you do that?
I divided the 80 divided by 15.
Should be divisible, no? Okay, yeah, it's not divisible. Yeah, so what we have the area. In your note sheet, area A equal to base times height, correct? On this example, they give us the height, they give us the area, correct? Equal to, we have the base, we are looking for H. So we have one equation, one unknown, correct? How do we solve for the H? We divide it by 15, divide by 15, and H equal to 80 divided by 15. If you divide both of them by 5, you get 3 here. 80 divided by 5 is, this is 8 times 10, 8 times 5 is 40. No, 8 times 10 divided by 5 is 16. 16. So we get 16 over 3. So 16 over 3 inches. We can leave it like this if the homework asks us exact. That's the exact form. But if it's rounded to a few decimal, you will use a calculator. Manipur, what did you get?
5.33.
So whatever decimal they're asking us. Good. So that's the idea. For the homework that I extended tonight, most of them is like this. Let's solve one of them. Are you guys ready? Now when you see the homework question, you guys freaking out. Oh, what is that? No. So let's read the question. Assume that the height of the rectangle below is 1/8. So the height here, this is 1/8. Write your answer, find the area, write your answer to just a fraction. So we are looking for this area, the blue one. We have to have base times height. Good. Base, what is the length of base? Rocio, what is base?
It's the shaded area.
Yeah. What is that? How big is from here till here?
2 inches.
Yeah,
Or,
just
I'm sorry,
the
2
number.
centimeters. I'm sorry, what was the question?
If this is a ruler here, assume this is
Yeah.
a ruler, how big is from here to there?
It's 2 cm.
Yeah, very good. It's not centimeter, but the answer is 2. Good. How did you get it? You can just count it 1, 2, or the distance formula for the horizontal line, we can say 7 minus 5, correct? The endpoint minus this one gives us 2. We usually put absolute value to don't get a negative number. So we have this is 2, and that's 1/8. We apply the formula 2 multiplied by 1/8. They ask us to use the exact. So here we have to do that in algebra. If you plug in the calculator, it doesn't give you exact. So how do we multiply two fractions? If you have a over b multiplied by c over d, this will give us ac over bd, correct? You just multiply, and then we see if we can simplify. So 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 8 is 8. 2 over 8, before you package this as a final answer, you need to see if we can simplify it or not. Is it even? You get 1 over 4. Both of them are divisible by 2. You get 1/4. The answer is 1 over 4. All right, not bad, correct? Let's have another one. If the area of the rectangle is 1, this area, this is 1. The formula for area was A was B multiplied by height. Great, area is given, 1 is given. And the base is 9 over 14, beautiful. We have this one as well. Multiplied by height. Find the height.
I'm going to guess, is it 14 over 9?
Very good guess, 14 over 9. But knowing this formula is the first step. You have like millions of formula. Which formula do you use? So this is the first step. Substituting the value is another important step. The last one is solving. So this is you need to solve. How do we solve? We have one equation, one unknown, correct? So only h is unknown. We should be able to solve it. How do we solve it? It might take 1 minute or it might take 5 hours, but you should be able to solve this question. The degrees one, I mean, we're talking about the linear as a basic equation. In order to solve for h, we need to get rid of 9 over 14. So 9 over 14, how do I get rid of it? Should I add, subtract, divide, or multiply? What number should I mean, here is a multiplication. Definitely adding and subtracting is not a good idea.
You multiply by 14?
Yeah, in the note sheets, you should have like a, if we have 5x equal to like 15. This is a multiplication, we divide by 5, correct? But if we have a question like 3/8 of x equal to 4, how do we solve this equation? If there's a fraction, we don't want to, I know we divide, but because it's a fraction, dividing by 3/8 both sides, it kind of ugly the other sides, correct? In case like this, we multiply by reciprocal, 8/3. So make a note that we multiply by 8/3. In this case, we will multiply by 14/9. We multiply by 14/9. So h equal to 14/9. Now the question is, should I leave it like this, or we are able to simplify this? 14 is 2 times 7, 9 is 3 times 3. They have nothing in common, so 14/9 will be the answer. Any question here? No question. Now let's do this one. If the area of unshaded rectangle is 1. So here's a confusing part. I mean, this question, I thought this the question only asking about this plus this is 1. But no, they're asking us everything here, unshaded. I mean, everything. This rectangle here is 1. So that's kind of misleading, that's all. If the area of unshaded rectangle is 1, that means everything for this rectangle, the big rectangle here, the area is 1. That means base times height, base multiplied by height equal to 1. We have idea about the base. The base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Base is 8 times h equal to 1. So I counted like this, 1, 2, 3, but if you're going to use a formula, you're going to say the last point, 10, minus the first point, 2, gives us 8. You can do that as well. So the width will be the width of what? Find the width and length of the shaded rectangle. So from here to there will be 8 minus 3, which is 5, or we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. What is the height? Kendall, what's the height?
Is it 1/8?
Beautiful. Very good. Very good. Is 1/8. Same
Sorry,
as,
I'm in and out because I'm feeding my kids as well, so I'm in and out. But I'm here. I'm
thanks for
listening.
letting me know. But good. But 1/8 is beautiful. Enjoy it.
Wouldn't it be 1/5 because it's asking for the shaded area?
Very good question. Look at the height. Here is a height, correct? And that's the height. So the height,
But it says find the width and the height of the shaded area. So if the width of the shaded area is 5,
the
wouldn't
width
it be
is 5,
1/5?
but width is 5. But the height of both of them are same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is 5. The height is 1/8.
Okay.
Good.
It's based off of the bigger.
Doesn't matter. I mean, if we have
Alright.
a bigger rectangle like this, if this is 100, still this is 1/8, if that was. Okay. Very
Okay.
good. Great. Let's have another one. So in the homework, when they said unshaded, that means they're talking about everything. Sierra?
Hi. Yes.
Are you following us?
Yes, I am.
Very good. So that was the question, correct? This type of, you asked me about this type of question?
I believe this is the one I asked. Yes.
All right, so the base of shaded rectangle. This is a shaded, this is a shaded, correct, rectangle. We can make a picture. Cool. So what's the base of the picture frame?
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. We can read it, but in algebra 12 minus 8, it will be 4. Let's read the question. Bus wait times 5 minutes to 14. So this is a minutes. So the answer should be the unit will be minutes. I don't think you need to put the units, just put 4. The unshaded rectangle below with area 1, the part, this, the shaded rectangle. All right, the height of rectangle. What is the height?
Is it 1/9?
So in order to solve for height, we have a formula A equal to base times height. Area is 1. Base is 14 minus 5, which is 9, times h. H will be 1/9. So very good, 1/9. The area of shaded rectangle. So we're gonna have 4 multiplied by 1/9. 4 multiplied by 1/9 gives us 4/9. Musa, do you like the picture?
I like the picture, but I don't like the math.
That's why I asked you the picture. I'm sure if you study, I mean, it should make sense.
Mm-mm.
Can you go over how you got 9 again, or where the 1/9 came from? I'm sorry.
From this, the height. So in order to solve for the height, the formula the formula that has height in it is this formula: b times base times height equal to area.
Yeah.
They said area is 1. So I put 1 equal to base times height. This base is this much, which is 9.
Okay.
So 1 equal to 9 times h. H will be 1/9.
Okay, thank you.
Should we have more examples like this, or we got it? Since it's due tonight, let's have a couple more. How come Maria is not here? She asked me a question. All right. Exactly same type of question. You know how easy it will be that you have a question like this in exam? I mean, if you study, if you have a note, it would take a minute to solve this.
I mean, can you put the same exact questions on the test?
Well, if doesn't matter if instead of 10.37, I put 10.45. So if you know what to do to find the distance, I mean, before we just counted like this, I also show you guys that you can you can subtract the endpoint, right? I said you get the endpoints. 14 minus 5 give us 9, correct? So if you notice, it doesn't matter if I put different picture here. Do you want exactly same?
I mean, I'm okay now. You helped out how to figure out the height.
That's how it works. I mean, that's how college works. Level of difficulty, but you need to speak out somehow, understand it. That's the best way to study. You okay, Lucia? So here, there's a base of shaded rectangle. Base of shaded, this is a shaded rectangle. I'm gonna put the house. Good. We cannot go like this, correct? It doesn't work. We have to use the formula. The formula is, I can say B might not be like a, let's say x2 minus x1, and I'm putting absolute value. Or if you put absolute value, it doesn't matter, you subtract this minus that or that minus this. It gives the same answer if you use absolute value. But if you use the endpoint, you put 10.37 minus 8.09. What do we get?
2.28.
2.28. So this is definitely, we cannot make it to fraction. The decimal is okay. The height of rectangle. Now what is the height? This height is same as this height, correct? What is the height?
Is it 1/8?
So this distance is 8. The area is 1. So we have 1 equal to 8 times h. H equal to 1/8. Very good, 1/8. The area of shaded region, 1/8 multiplied by 2.28. So definitely you need to use a calculator. What do we get?
0.285.
Now you guys solve this one for me. The base of shaded rectangle. I'm fully confident if I ask Sierra, she will answer. 95% confidence. What is the base?
The base is 21.16.
So how do we do it? That's 32.27 minus 11.11. That's give it. Very good. What's the unit? That was easy question, Syria. What's the unit of 21.16? What's the unit of this?
Weeks.
Yeah. Weeks. Raul. So it's very important. We are talking about weeks, correct? This is 52 weeks. The height of rectangle. Again, 1 equal to base times height. What is a base? Set from 1 to 52. Good. To 53. So it would be 52 times h. H equal to 1 over 52. And can you guys tell me what is the area?
.407.
I'm gonna check if they have. So 1 over 52. So for this question, you need to round, you need to make it to decimal. That's the answer. What did you get for here? 0.4069?
Yes, that's what I got.
So because we are not dealing with the exact at the beginning, we got decimal for the part A. So you will make to decimal. Let's have one more. The area of the shaded rectangle is. Anybody solve this?
I got 21.47.
Really? So I'm going to make a multiple choice. A, what did you say? 20?
I got 21.47.
B.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's gonna be wrong.
I listed. You picked A. 0.0595. D. 0.955. So,
Okay, I changed my answer. It's C.
no. What was, what did you do? So we are looking for this area, okay? We need to have the base and we have to have a height. Base multiplied by height gives us area of the blue. The base equal to 16.66 minus 15.53. What is this if we subtract?
1.13.
1.13. I agree. Very good. So this is base is 1.13. Now let's look for the height. the area here, everything is 1. Good. That means this biggest base, which is 19, correct? Which is 30 minus 11 is 19. So that's the big base. So 19 multiplied by height gives me 1. So h going to be 1 over 19 multiplied by this. You put it here. I pick C. All right. Any question here? No question? So this is due tonight, correct? I would like that tonight or tomorrow night, so it should be done. I solved most of it. Please don't get used to this because I need to complete the book by end of the semester. Please put more time every day. All right, so you also need to know about factorial. Probably you already know, but factorial same as adding, subtracting, multiplication, division, exponents, or log, if you remember. We also have factorial, which is like this. This one. For example, 4 factorial. This means, so the definition of factorial means 4 multiplied by 3, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 1, you stop. If we have n factorial for any number, the definition is you get n, then you multiply by n minus 1, then you multiply n minus 2, n minus 3, you continue till you get to the 1. We are not dealing with negative number, we're always positive. And you also need to know 0 factorial is 1. There's no, I mean, we don't want to prove it now, but 0 factorial is 1. One example for you guys. What is the value of 5 factorial? In your calculator, if you have a graphing calculator or even basic calculator, there is a button factorial. You can use that as well. But the algebra part will be, we get the same number, 5. You multiply 1 before, 4. Then you go 3. Then you go 2. Then you go 1. What's the answer?
120.
120. It's a huge, right? Any question for factorial? What about eight factorial? So factorial means 8 times 7, the 8 factorial, times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. The last one doesn't matter times 1, but if you multiply, what do we get?
I got a very huge number.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. What is that? Give me the digits.
40,320.
Give me the digits.
40320. 40320.
You're going too fast, Lucio. I have
Oh,
four-
I'm sorry. 40320. Is that right?
40,003. Yeah, it should be. Because
Yeah.
this much was 120, correct? Then 120 times 6 gives us like around 700. 700 times 7, then the answer times 8 is going to be huge. Good. All right, so let's have another question for you guys. What is 100 factorial divided by 99 factorial?
I think my calculator is way too fancy because I cannot find factorial on here.
Probably has a fancy like this.
No, not that I see. I might have to Google it afterwards and
Your
see.
calculator? Let me see. You should have factorial. Probably inside of the button math. You have to go through that.
Oh,
But who solved this one? Even if you have your calculator, if you find it, your calculator not gonna able to answer this, I believe. Anybody solve this? Rocio, for 8 factorial, you say, oh, this is huge. What else for 100 factorial? I mean, your calculator will smoke. I mean, not a smoke, but it smokes. Yeah. So what we do, we apply the definition here. For example, for 8 factorial, can I say 8 multiply? So here's a factorial, correct? I can stop at any number, and after that, instead of saying 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I can say 7 factorial. Right? It's same because 7 factorial will be this, and 8 times that will be 8 factorial. So what I'm going to do here, 100 factorial, I'm going to say 100 multiplied by 99 factorial. Because if you write it down, we're going to have 99 times 98 times 97, correct? Divided by 99 factorial, this 2 will cancel. The answer is 100. So you should be able to simplify some factorial like this. Yes, Manpreet.
oh yes. No, sorry. I was just trying to see how you got the answer 100 because I wasn't paying
You get
attention.
100? So let's have another example. 54 factorial divided by 50 52 factorial. There's no way we can put it in calculator. It doesn't work. 54 factorial is a huge, huge number.
So we do the same thing you did with the other one?
Yes.
54
So-
times 52 over 54?
No. So 54
Oh.
factorial, that means 54 times 53 times 52. I can stop there.
Uh-huh.
I divided by 52 factorial, these two will cancel. So the answer will be 54 multiplied by 53.
Oh, okay.
Correct?
Why-
Christine?
Why 3 numbers though? I was trying to apply it like the previous one you
The
did when it was
previous
just 2
one was-
numbers.
100 over 99 factorial, correct? 99
Right.
was exactly after 100,
Oh, okay.
correct? So instead of putting 100 times 99 times 98 times 97 goes all the way to 1, I said this much is 99 factorial divided by 99 factorial, so they cancel. Let's have one question only for Rocio. 25 factorial divided by 21 factorial. Don't give me the answer. Again, it's a big number, but what numbers should I multiply to get that?
Is it 25 times 24 times 23 times 22?
Yes, Lucian, very good. So by looking at the question, I mean, this is going to be a huge number.
That was Kendall.
Yeah, yeah, Kendall.
I'll take it as a compliment. It's okay.
Yeah, you shake your head too. So 25, 24, 23, 22, then times 21 factorial, divide by 21 factorial. So these two gone, then you multiply this. So this, we're gonna go over it on the Wednesday. All right, so that's, have some idea that there's a factorial. The definition of factorial, you multiply by number, you decrease by 1 until you
Oh.
get,
Sorry, Kayvon, question.
yes.
Sorry. Would that answer be acceptable? Like if we just did 25 times 24 times 23 times 22? Or would you like us to like simplify that?
Simplify this one. Again, it's a big number, but I just made it up. But in your homework, you
Yeah.
have to simplify.
It's probably smaller on the homework.
Yes. So there's your homework due tonight.
Okay.
The homework due, let's see. The homework related to factorial and combination is October 21st. When is that? 19th?
That is on Wednesday. Yep.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Is that Thursday?
No, it's Wednesday because today's the 19th.
19th, you add on 21st. Just subtract, you get. Yeah, it's Wednesday. So let me make it to Thursday before I get 10,000 emails. Wow, change it. Let me change it right now. Pause this. So we are in chapter 4. If you were studying 2 hours a day for the statistic and math, I would like you guys add up little, at least 10 or 15 minutes extra per day for chapter 4 and 5. After chapter 4, we're going to have exam on chapter 3 and 4. Hopefully by now you have good page of notes on chapter 3.
Professor, when's the exam again?
After I finish chapter 4.
All right, thank you.
So on chapter 4, we are dealing let me, if I can make one example to get some idea of what we're gonna do. So basically, so far, we had a population, correct? We were not able to study or apply a statistic to entire population. We take sample. We learn different technique of sampling. We study the sample, correct? We apply the statistic to the sample, and hopefully we're gonna make a good conclusion about population. So that's what's gonna happen now. So we're gonna make some conclusion about population. Let's say there are 4 people inside of the house. They are roommates. Good. Person like this. You guys okay with the roommates? Well, let's say they are roommates, right? And they decided, are you with me, Musa? So they live here, they like to decide who washes dishes every night. What they do, they put a bag, they put their name inside of the bag. So the 4 names in it, and they're gonna pick one name. Whoever popped up, that would be person who's gonna wash the dishes. Good? So what's the probability that this person will be picked?
1 out of 4.
Each person has 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, and 1 out of 4. What's the probability that, for example, Alex will not be picked? What's the probability that one of them will not be picked? Like probability that Alex not be picked.
Three out of 4.
At one night. What's that?
I said, is it 3 out of 4?
Very good. 3 out of 4. Why is that there are 2 ways? I mean, if this person doesn't get picked, that means these 3 gonna pick. One of them gonna pick. So we're gonna 1 out of 4 plus 1 out of 4 plus 1 over 4 will be 3 over 4. Or we said the probability that one person gonna be picked is 1 out of 4. If he's not gonna be picked, we subtract from 1, we will be 3 over 4. The complement. We will go over probability a little bit in algebra. But do you guys have any questions right now? So the idea was they're gonna pick randomly. So they're gonna say, assume truly random. Good. And let's say Alex will pick them. After 3 nights, Alex didn't get picked. you think is a problem with that? So random tonight, Alex wasn't. Tomorrow night wasn't. And the third night, Alex didn't pick up. Do you think any fishy things going on there? If Alex picking, is it cheating? Let's find the probability. Probability that Alex not picked 3 nights on the row. I mean, the 3 nights he didn't pick up. He didn't get picked. What's the probability of that? If he didn't pick on the first night, is 3/4. So we have 3/4. The second night didn't get picked is you're going to multiply by another 3/4. And the third night will be another 3/4. So what's the probability right now that Alex not picked at 3 nights on the row? What is this probability? It will be 27/64. It will be 0.42, which is 42%. Do you guys have any problem with 42%? You think 42% is something that you need to question, Alex? Are you cheating, or everything is okay? Musa, don't look at the looks of the Alex. Don't judge with the look. You think he's cheating, or that's okay? For 3 nights, he didn't get picked. You think it's okay? I mean, you assume you have 4 people in the room. Every night you picked, and 3 nights he didn't get picked. And the probability of that is 42%. Should we question, is this randomly? Is it truly randomly, or is it something fishy?
I feel like it's random.
Yeah, very good. 42% is okay. Okay,
Yeah.
3 nights. What about if it's 12 nights? If 12 nights in the row, he didn't get picked. You think it's so?
That's something fishy.
Or yeah, something is fishy. But let's say, so Alex not picked for 12 nights on the road. So you said, oh, it's fishy. 3 nights you were okay. But without this information, it would be difficult to say, even answering this one. Now, when we have a percentage, so 42%, that's okay. Probably he's lucky, correct? But 12 nights, your brain said, oh, something is fishy. But let's calculate the probability. So we're going to have 3/4 first night, 3/4 second night. So we need to multiply this one 12 times. Or 3/12, no, 3/4 to power of 12. What do we get? We get 0.0316, which is approximately 3%. So probability that, for example, 12, the night of 12 to not be picked is like 3% is small. So with this information, we're gonna go back to what we assume. So this should go under question. So the null hypothesis, what the hypothesis at the beginning we assume is, we have to investigate, is not true. Any question? Are you guys excited for this chapter? Chapter 4. That's the address of this house with 4 people. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. So we actually gonna apply what we learned about the statistic on the sample and population. We're gonna make a good decision. Seems like there's no question. Let's move on. So introducing hypothesis test. That's what we did. We tested. The goal of hypothesis test is to determine whether the sample data provide enough evidence to refute, to prove the null hypothesis in favor of alternative hypothesis. So we're gonna see the word alternative and null hypothesis. Extrasensory perception. Hopefully you guys know this. Is there such a thing as extrasensory perception? Do you guys believe that?
I don't even know what that is.
Very good. So we're going to talk about it. It's a sixth sense. The definition is right here. So this chart just tells us people believe it, is blue, don't believe it, not sure. So that's how we're going to read the graph. But the meaning of extrasensory, the sixth sense. We have 5, correct? Everybody believe it. But the sixth one is something not that many people believe it. So one way to test for ESP, which is extrasensory perception, is with Zenser cards. So we have 5 cards, correct? Circle, addition, wavy, square, and star. Steven, are you following me?
Yes.
The subject draw a card at the random and telepathical communicate this to someone who then guesses the sample. So for example, I pick one, good. Then, we have no paper, I pick one, and then I look at your eyes, or you just try to read my mind, see what card did I pick. That would be extrasensory. All right.
It sounds like magic.
Very good. So you don't believe it. Good. So now we had 5 cards, correct? There are 5 cards with 5 different samples. So if there is no such thing as ESP, that's Steve believe, there's nothing. So probability of each card will be 1/5. Correct? As we have learned, statistics vary from sample to sample. Even if the population proportion is 1/5, not every sample proportion will be exactly 1/5. I mean, this information, this should make sense to you. Why we have 1/5? Because we have 5 cards, correct? We have circle, we have square, we have stars, wavy, and we have something else. So each one will be 1/5. So that means if you don't believe ESP, then like Steve, the probability of each one will be 1/5. If you believe ESP, then the probability should be higher. For example, somebody can, for example, probability of the card with the circle might be higher because somebody can read the mind. So how do we determine when a sample proportion is far enough above 1/5 to provide evidence of ESP? So if it's above 1/5, that means there's something's going on. Not cheating him, somebody can read somebody else. What's happening on this slide? A statistical test. A statistical test is used to determine whether results from a sample are convincing enough to allow us to conclude something about population. In the ESP experiment, we want to use sample data to determine whether the population proportion of correct guesses is really higher than 1/5. Steve, does this make sense? What we're gonna do? You
Yeah,
said
I
you
think
don't
I
believe
understand
it.
a little bit.
You said you don't believe it. Somebody else gonna say, "Oh, I believe it." The person said they don't believe it, so it has to be 1/5. So probability of each card. We have 5 cards. So whatever I picked, and you're gonna tell me, "Oh, you picked like a card with a circle." So the probability of that is 1/5. That card to be the circle. But people who believe ASP, that means the probability is going to be more than 1/5. That's what we're going to do. A statistical hypothesis. A statistical tests are framed formally in terms of 2 competing hypotheses. Null hypothesis claim that there is no effect or difference. Alternative hypothesis claim for which we seek evidence. So for example, for us, we are looking for this one. A statistical hypothesis. Usually we said H of null, H of O, that means null hypothesis, and H of A is alternative hypothesis. Both of them, they talk about population. The alternative hypothesis is established by observing evidence, not contradicting the null hypothesis, and supports the alternative hypothesis. Let me read it one more time. The alternative hypothesis is established by observing evidence that contradicts the null hypothesis and supports the alternative hypothesis. Any question here? Rocio?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, is not something that we can just understand right now. I mean, you just need to have some idea. Then you guys need to be by your own. I mean, going through the online book, the activity that you're gonna see on this core, and I'm gonna work on it later today. So those things you need to register. You need to have a good note for yourself. It will get super complicated if you don't understand this 2 type of hypothesis. Anyway, for the ESP experiment, the null hypothesis is that ESP does not exist, same as Steve said. So that's not true. But alternative hypothesis said ASP exists. Somebody believe it, somebody don't believe it. If we translate this one, so the statistic part, we are talking, the parameter is we're talking about the rho, the proportion. Proportion equal to 1/5. What does it mean? That means doesn't exist. The probability is 1/5. But alternative said, somebody said, no, exists. There are some experiment that shows the probability is more than 1/5. There's a very important note here. Hypothesis helpful hints. Hypotheses are always about population parameter, not sample. So again, this is very important. You will see it in the homework. Hypothesis, both of them, H0 and HA, always about population parameter. The null hypothesis always contains an equal. Null hypothesis always has equal here, like mu equal to mu of A equal to mu of B. Alternative hypothesis always contains an inequality. The type of inequality in the alternative comes from the wording of the equation of interest. That means sometimes we use mu, sometimes we use rho, all type of the parameter that we talk about population. Let's have one example. Students were given words to memorize, then randomly assigned to take either a 90-minute nap or a caffeine pill. Do we have caffeine pill? I didn't know that. 2.5 hours later, they were tested on their recall ability. All right. So exploratory variable is sleep or caffeine. So we're going to examine if our sleep is better or caffeine. Response variable will be number of words recalled. Is there a difference in average word recall between sleep and caffeine? So that's what we're going to conclude. So how do we write this in a statistic way? It will be like this. So we're going to say null hypothesis will be average of a sleep equal to the mean of reading in after sleep and caffeine, but the null alternative will be that they are not equal. So the mean number of words recalled after sleeping and after caffeine. Sometimes they write it on this way as well. So here we have mu of S equal to mu of C. If I subtract mu of C from both sides, I get this one. So this is exactly same meaning. This is exactly same as that one. How do we measure strength of evidence against null and in the favor of alternative hypothesis? We're going to learn it next class. How do we know whether we have enough evidence to reject null hypothesis in favor of alternative hypothesis? Again, the following class. Don't think we are done. No, we have few exercises. That's a summary that should be in a good note for yourself and then for the exam or for chapter 4.1. A statistical test use data from a sample to assess a claim about the population. A statistical tests are usually formalized with competing hypotheses. Null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. A hypothesis test examines whether sample data provides enough evidence to refute the null hypothesis and support the alternative hypothesis. It's too much, yeah? For Monday. Let's have few exercises that you will get. It is not that complicated. So, is there such a thing as ASP for the sixth sense? Do you believe it or not? Steve said no.
No.
I'm sure Musa is going to say yes, I can read your mind. But in order to answer this one, we need to have enough evidence to prove it, correct? So let's answer this question. There are 5 cards with 5 different symbols. If there is no such thing as ESP, correct? Like Steven said, what proportion of guesses should be correct? if there is no ASP, if there is no reading mind, which one is correct? Proportion of what's the probability of
P equals 0.
No. I mean, we have 5 cards, correct? I pick one of the cards. Okay, we have a house, circle, heart, sun, ghost. If I pick one of them, correct? And if I ask you which one did I pick, the probability is 1/5 that you tell me the correct one. Agree? So the probability of, if I take the heart, that if the probability that you tell me that I pick the heart is 1/5. So probability gonna be 1/5. If we do this experiment and the probability that you reading my mind is more than 1/5, is like a 1/2, then that means there exists ASP. There is a sixth sense. Does that make sense, Stephen?
Yes, I understand.
Probability is 0. That means I pick one of the cards. For example, I pick this ghost. And I ask you which card did I pick. You tell me you picked a boat. I mean, there's no boat here. I mean, you tell me something differently off. I mean, I tell you what are my options. So whatever your answer will be one of the symbols. So it will be 1/5. Let proportion hat, that means for the sample, denote the sample proportion of the correct guesses in ASP experiments. All right, the correct one. Which of these sample statistics would give the strongest evidence of ASP? So, sample proportion of correct guesses. So we have like a wall here, somebody here, pick card, pick your favorite, Alex. The other side. So the experiment, so we are recording. For example, this guy picked 2 and he said, oh, the answer is 2. So we are collecting all the information. Good. Which of this sample statistic would give you the strongest evidence of ASP? Is that 1.1? Is that 10%, 25%, 40%, or 70%? If you see the data, which one you will be more convinced to say, oh, there exists ASP? If you see a sample data with 10%, you're gonna say, oh, this is a good sample and ASP exists. Or if you say 70%.
Yeah, D.
70%, correct? If the sample data, I know it doesn't exist, but if the sample data, if no cheating going on and the person 70%, the answer correct. So when you see this one, that means ASP exists. ASP exists for this particular person. Sleep versus caffeine. What is a parameter of interest in the sleep versus caffeine experiments?
The difference in proportions.
Very good. Difference in mean.
That's what I meant to say.
What is a parameter? So the parameter means we are talking about like a mean, proportion, correlation. So those few that we learn. In this example, so the question is right here. This was the caffeine, correct? The question was average. You see that word? So this is we will get it from the problem. So the average words recall between sleep and caffeine. So average, that means a difference in average. So you have it right there. That's why is difference in mean. Cool. I know you guys don't like this, but you're going to see a lot of this fancy Greek or like. So again, we are dealing with sleep versus caffeine, correct? Let mu of S and mu of C be the mean numbers of words recalled after sleeping and after caffeine. This should be okay. It has to make sense. Another question, is there a difference in average word recall between sleep and caffeine? That's the question. What are the null and alternative hypotheses? Which one is null and alternative hypothesis?
Wait, do we have to like say like is A no, is B no, is C no, is D no, and is E no? Like for all of them, or is only one?
No. You just need to pick for if it's A tells us H null hypothesis is mu of S is not equal to mu of C. Alternative hypothesis is mu of S equal to mu of caffeine. So this is like A. They put it in one line, but you can break it down. So you have to tell me if is this correct, or is B is correct, or is C is correct, which one? So what are the null and alternative? Is there a difference in average?
A is no.
You don't like, why is not?
Because it's equal.
Very nice. You eliminate A because null hypothesis never gonna get inequality. Null hypothesis always get equal sign. So A and C, they are out because they have null. We have inequality for the null, right? What about B? Null hypothesis said they are equal. Alternative said they are not equal. So this is the correct one. It said, is there a difference in average words recall between sleep and caffeine? Null hypothesis said they are not equal. Alternative said they are equal. Null hypothesis says there is no difference if you take a pill or if you sleep. So we need to reject this with our sample. So alternative said they are not equal. Let's have another one. I know it's different language to you guys now, but there will be the simplest question in chapter 4. What are the null and alternative hypotheses to determine whether there is evidence that the proportion of people who support gun control differs between males and females? So we can just delete these two. These two are out, correct? Why is out? Because we cannot have any, we only can have equal sign for the null hypothesis. Now between these three, which one you pick, which one you think is the best, but the way we are reading it.
Would it be C?
Yes. They said there's evidence, so we're talking about alternative hypothesis, that proportion of people who support gun control differs between males and females. So they said different. They didn't say more than or less than. If they said more than, like a male, proportion of male is more than female, so we would be using this one. Or, but this is talking about the mean. But C, they're saying they're different. We are using the correct parameter. Parameter is proportion. Proportion is P. So nothing to do with the mu. So this will be the best answer. What about this one? So those are related to your homework. What are the null and alternative hypotheses to determine whether there is evidence that, so evidence, we talk alternative hypothesis, that the average number of hours of sleep per night for college students is less than 7. Which one should I eliminate, Rocio? Which one has to go away?
Certainly C, because if they're referring to less than 7, then we want to keep that sign, right? The less than sign. And C
Very
does
good.
not have that option.
Very good. So very good. Also at the beginning, we look at on the null hypothesis, only we should have equal sign. B has inequality, so this is out.
Okay.
C,
As well as D.
you brought a good case. You said, oh, the null hypothesis, they said less than, so this is gonna go away by your definition. Also, D will go away because it's not equal sign, correct?
Right.
So this is gone, that's gone. Between A and E, which one?
I'm gonna go with let's see. So X bar is sample.
Excellent. That was great. I mean, we talk about H null and H A. We always talking about population. So this is related to sample, is out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is out because of sample. Another way to eliminate them, because they are using a statistic, but we have to use parameter for population. So the only thing we should think about, because the ABC was easy to eliminate because they use X bar. Now between D and E, D is odd because we have inequality here. E is correct. Also should make sense. All right. I know you guys are tired. Last question. ESP. I know Stephen don't like ESP, but I break ESP. So ESP,
Oh.
null hypothesis. It said, so null hypothesis doesn't believe it. They said the proportion is 1/5. Good. Somebody said no, is more than 1/5. That means somebody believe it. So which sample proportion would give the strongest evidence against null hypothesis in favor of alternative hypothesis? Which one?
Would it be E, 1/2?
Very good. Yeah. Is E. So because E 1/2 is like a 50%, right? This one, evidence against H null, against this one that doesn't believe, and in the favor of alternative hypothesis. And that's a solution. They said 1/2 is 4 above 1/5. So it's the strongest evidence again. All right, guys. That's what's happening on chapter 4.